perfect. They're perfect, Vanessa. All right, here you go. So thank you, Mike. And next, Vanessa is going to share what she's learned from organizing Spanish-speaking media members in Philly into a collaborative as part of the Comunicadores initiative.
Well, let me start.
Hola, bienvenidos a Filadelfia. Me llamo Vanessa Maria Graber, soy la directora en Free Press. Imagínense si fuera una periodista o una comunicador y la presencia de ICE ha aumentado en tu comunidad. Tienes miedo y estás buscando recursos. Pero cuando buscas en Internet, no encuentras nada en inglés. Cuando vayas a las conferencias de periodismo, no hay intérpretes. No hay gente bilingüe. ¿Cómo te sentirás? Eso es el sentimiento de muchos comunicadores aquí en Filadelfia y por todo nuestro país. And if you didn't understand what I said, then you can put yourself in the shoes of the thousands of Spanish-speaking journalists, content creators, producers, filmmakers, and communicators that are desperately looking for support, mutual aid, education, and collaboration across the U.S. Before I worked at Free Press, I actually worked here in Philadelphia at PhillyCAM. I'm the founder and I was the station manager of WPPM 106.5 FM. And shout out to PhillyCAM that has been a local leader in providing a platform for Spanish-speaking community. And as the Spanish-speaking community grew at our Community Media Center, we created a group called PhillyCAM Latinx. And we started to translate our information on our website, have Spanish language orientation, and create workshops and materials in Spanish. In 2020, the pandemic happened, and the center shut down and was, not open to the public for a while, and that group largely dissipated. Fast forward to last year, of course, the Trump administration comes into power. We start seeing the presence of ICE everywhere in our communities. And a real change is happening in our community. People are extremely fearful. People are looking for safety, looking for legal support. And many people would come to me and say, where can I find information? And this is when I felt compelled to do something, to use my English-speaking privilege as a Puerto Rican from the diaspora. I also feel like I have the privilege to speak and say things that many immigrants and undocumented people could not say. So with that, we decided to think about creating a mutual aid group here in Philadelphia. And to be honest, I was going to do this whether Free Press supported it or not, because these are my friends, these are my colleagues, and we needed to do something to keep each other safe. And so thanks to the People's Media Fund, we were able to fund this pilot project and create Comunicadores. And so the question we're trying to answer is, how do we achieve true language justice for our communities? And this is our group in Philly. Next.
Oh, you have the clicker right there on the desk, but I got you.
Okay, thank you. So in a nutshell, Spanish language media workers have very little support from the journalism support community because there is a real barrier to language access. How many Spanish speakers are here in this room today? Exactly. ¿Y cuántos de ustedes preferían tener esta información en español? And I'm sure in many communities, especially in border communities, the same is true. And so we started to organize with local partners. We had to go back to our friends at PhillyCAM, of course, because that group was still kind of in contact. And shout out to PhillyCAM, because they are a safe space for the community. They put a very powerful statement about being a safe space in regards to ICE. The staff trained themselves and assured us that we could meet at their center. And they even made a public statement saying as much. And having safe spaces is really, really important, especially when we're being surveilled and our digital communications can be compromised. Reached out to my friend Jean Song and Latrell, and we can go to the next slide. We'll skip that one too. All right, there, yeah. To partner with the Center for Community Engaged Media I used to teach Latinx media here at Temple. There is a bilingual journalism program here. And Jean and the Philly Journalism Collaborative wanted to make a collaboration more accessible to this growing group of Spanish language comunicadores. There's more than 30 million Spanish speakers here in the United States, an additional 3 million in Puerto Rico. And just a little bit about what we're doing. You have more than 30 people in our group representing every Latine media outlet in Philadelphia. We've been providing training. So next month, we'll be back here at Temple, hopefully doing a safety training with the International Women's Media Foundation. We've created a Spanish language resource guide. We've been able to get a meeting with the Latino Legislative Caucus next month so that we can advocate for local news in Pennsylvania. And we're trying to figure out how to amplify and tell the story of how information flows in Spanish language communities, which is very different than American capitalist media system. And the last thing that we're trying to do is figure out a code of ethics so that we can, again, develop our own culturally competent code of ethics for journalism. One more thing, we hope that we will be able to come back here next year and have our own one-day Spanish language summit for comunicadores from the entire region. So if you're a funder who wants to fund that, por favor, habla conmigo. But the reality is that this group is necessary in every city. And I would encourage you, if you are somebody like me, to organize your own group, even if there's just 5 of you. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. And we hear that a lot at protests. And that means, the people united will never be defeated. And lastly, when our communities are under attack, information in our language becomes a form of currency. Thank you so much.